can be a bit tricky here. I know your answer here, if I were to ask, is a tithe contract and covenant with God bilateral or unilateral? I know your answer would be, it's bilateral. Hello. Oh, any visitors now in our dear class? Those who may have joined a little late? Yes, that's it. Okay. 10:40. We are grateful. Okay. So the tithe contract is bilateral. Why? Because there is a promise and a case according to Malachi chapter 3. We understand that? Yes, 7 up to 10. Yes, you rob me here in tithe and offerings, but if you obey and stop robbing me, here are the blessings. I will open the windows of heaven. They will come flooding that you will have no room. And the speakers from here have very well explained that. It may not be just in material blessings, but it could be also in health. Maybe the whole year you may not have gone to the hospital, no headache at all, no stress that has been talked about here. Those are the blessing that is being talked about. But if you don't obey this tithe, you obey the obligations, you don't have your obligations correct on this tithe contract, then again Haggai comes in. All right? Haggai comes in. He says, you will put in your pockets, but there will be holes there. You put in your barns, nothing. Miraculously, you'll be eating, but you still remain hungry. You see what I'm talking about? This is a contract kind of, so it's bilateral as well. All right. So we need to be that. But there is one thing that I would not want to leave hanging here. I would not want to leave this hanging because it can stress you. Be mindful of this, that your faithful returning of tithe and offering does not obligate God to actually bless you. I hope you got me there. Your faithful returning tithe and offering does not in any way obligate God to bless you. The reason is that you're not doing God any favor, neither are you bringing him on the line. We have done this, so you should do this. No. After all, what have you done? You have just returned to God what is his already. We are told in the quarter that you must be careful on this. Many of you, if I can hear, I'm not with the treasury, but I know that you have been very faithful. And you have not been insulated from troubles. Are we together? No, you have not been insulated from trouble. You have faithfully retained tithe and here, and yet you have had sicknesses, you have got difficulties like anybody else. So if you are having yourself in that situation and you could actually complain, please remember that you are not the only one. Job complained, but also Jeremiah chapter 12, also Jeremiah complained. Okay, Jeremiah also says, God, you are a righteous God. How is it that they are unfaithful? Are you getting that? They are unfaithful ones. They are the ones that you protect them more. I am retaining tithe and offering, faithful tithe and offering, and yet I'm the one who every time with problems. So I'm bringing this so that you don't get caught up there and start blaming God. No. First and foremost, be settled to know that what you are returning to God, though it is in the bilateral covenant, please remember it is God's. You are just returning. That's why we don't say pay tithe. You don't pay tithe, you retain tithe to God. And then you do the offering. I'm not seeing whether I'm seeing a hand here. Oh, all right. Somebody, maybe a mic for him. I'm not sure. I have but about 10 minutes or so I can accommodate that. By 10:40, we must be able to leave this place to allow other programs. I hope you are speaking to where I am now. Okay, please go ahead. Question?
Why does the Lord ask us to give tithe and offerings? These are the laws of cause and effect. He does not just want us to give us give him his tithe. But by doing so, we do ourselves a great favor. Each time we return tithe and offerings, the Lord diminishes our covetousness, and that brings peace in the life and contentment. It's such that as we grow, the Lord establishes in us a peaceful state of being as we give him his offerings and tithe. So some of these covenants we are learning, they are actually the laws of cause and effect. So the Lord does not just dream things and let's do this or do that. He does everything because he loves us and he wants us to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. That is one of the basic lessons we must have. That is, stewardship nugget in terms of monetary or monetary stewardship. We know that the one that actually benefits actually is us when we return. He talked about the meaning covetousness, meaning selfishness. God deals with the element of selfishness so that as we give to God, the spirit of selfishness diminishes. Thank you so much for that. All right, we are very grateful. Let me finish because I'm already on Thursday here for those that are following. And on Thursday we have, but seek ye first. Seek ye first. It's the same thing like honoring God. Seek ye first. And we know this from Matthew chapter 6, from 25, I think, all the way up to verse 33. All right? All the way up to verse 33. Okay. What is coming out here is that many things we are worried about our necessities of life. The food, the water, and everything, that amenities that make life sustainable. So what this verse or this particular part is saying is that God knows that you need these things. If you read it from verse 25, maybe ending with it, God knows that we need these things. But there is one word that is interesting here, a conjunction that is interesting here. It says, God knows that you need all these things, but seek him first, his kingdom and his righteousness. Then the Lord will add. The word add, the conjunction add there, implies that in addition to you, God blessing you all this because you're obedient, you're putting him first and all that, he will add to the necessities of life. So that is very clear. God will add. Meaning you have already, but then God will add. Maybe you are not following me. You have already, meaning that you have life, though you may not have enough food. Are you together? You are living, you may not have good clothing, not a spacious kind of house, but you are living now. In addition to basic things, life itself, God will add if you put him first. That's what all these lessons are all about. So I have come to the end of our study. Please, let's understand that we are dealing the whole of this quarter with the subject of stewardship, but in a way that is well presented. The most important thing is the relational aspect between us as his creation and the God. It's all about the relation here. That's why you find that while we may not comment more on the unilateral blessings of the Lord, like the sun, the waters, life itself, and breathing itself, you don't struggle to breathe. Whether, in fact, the thieves, they need to be in good health, and it's like God is giving them good health to go and steal. You see that? Yes. You see? But then that is unilateral. We are dealing more with bilateral. God's part and your part in the bilateral arrangement is what? Is there any last question so that we can prepare to allow our friends to come in. If there is any question, I have 4 minutes. I'm told by 10:40 we must be out of this place. We have 10:36, 4 minutes or so. Here is the question. Someone to help us with a mic there. All right. Someone to help us with the mic. Okay. The sister there, please help her. In 4 minutes, let's see what we can do before we wind up. The subject again has been God's covenant with us. God's covenant with us. Please say, go ahead, madam.
Yes, my concern is about the situations that we sometimes give tithe in expectation for the Lord to bless us. And then he does, and when we don't see the blessings, we tend to stop. And there's another situation where you are just giving because you are obeying. And then maybe at an unexpected time, the Lord does that for us. So what can you say on our thoughts sometimes that we give in expectation of receiving and then we don't receive?
Thank you very much. We dealt with that issue, but again, the question has come, which is very important. We are saying don't be distressed when you don't see corresponding what? You are faithful, you are obedient when you don't see corresponding blessings. Don't be distressed, because at the same time, you still enjoy unilateral what? Blessings. For you to complain, it's because you are still living. And therefore, there's time now. So you are still living. Your question is very important. Don't be hurt. Don't give up. Don't turn your back on God, because that you will be more injured than God himself. So I accept that. May the good Lord bless. This is where we have come to the end of our Sabbath school. For the one inside, may we just bow our heads, because we will not know who was part of our class. Let's just bow our hearts and pray. Eternal Father and our God, we thank you for many unilateral blessings bestowed upon us, life itself that has brought us into this place. But we